friends, welcome back. It's Laura. So today we're going to do the long-awaited, because I keep mentioning it, temperature blanket. I don't know if anybody else has really been waiting, but I keep mentioning that we're going to do it and then we don't. So I finally got my act together. I got the information off of my phone. This is my, I don't know if I have my original, hang on. Let me look here. Do I have my original color? Oh, here it is. Here's my original. Here's what all the colors, they're in a bit of a different order now. I think I switched this one and this one, maybe. Or this one and this one. I think I switched this one and this one. But this is what order they're in. From coolest all the way to the hottest, which I don't know if we ended up using the hottest last year. Last year was surprisingly cool. There were a lot of days in this color, and it never really, it was a cool year. But so this is the same chart, just without the colors. It's got the color names, so I know what colors to use. And then here is the rest of July that I wrote down. I took it off my phone. Yeah, let me show you what I've got so far. It's in this. Let me show you. So I've split the blanket up into two parts. They're going to go back to back. So from January to June is going to be one blanket, and July to December is going to be the second blanket, and then they're going to go back to back. I'm going to crochet them together and give them a gray border, like maybe a scallop border or something. But here is, this is only part of it. It goes all the way over here. It's a throw blanket. It's not a bed blanket by any means. So we started off the year, you know, pretty mild. I live by the coast, so it's mild temperatures. As you can see, the temperatures, I only started at 50 because they stayed in the 50s. We don't really get below 50 degrees. If we did, I would have picked out another color, but we don't really get below 50, not for the highs anyway. For the lows we do, but for the highs we don't really get below 50s. So there was a lot of the green. And then we had a hot day right there, kind of a little heat wave. The purple is, we had a lot more 50s. What is this green? This is 60 to 64. So we had a lot of 50s and 60s. And then you can see it slowly starts getting warmer. We start getting into the turquoise, which is 65 to 69. And then we start getting into this ocean color, which is 70 to 74. And I do have the months marked off on the side with a piece of white and also a stitch marker. I don't know what I'm going to do when I do the border, when I sew them together. I'm not quite sure yet. I want to do something to differentiate. I might do like a little white row or something. And then here we had a heat wave. You can see where my ends are popping out. We had a heat wave. It was for 3 days. What was that? That was 80 to 84, 85 to 89, and then 75 to 74, and then it went back into the 60s. And then it was mild. It was incredibly mild. I thought this blanket was going to be such a bust because it was so dang mild. And it hadn't been that way ever since we moved here. It had been so hot. And apparently it had just been like, the hottest years on record. And so this was probably the coolest year that we had since moving here, which of course is the year that I decided to make a temperature blanket. So then towards the end of June, it started warming up. This is where we get 70 to 74 and 75 to 79 is the light peach. So there's that. And then here's what we're going to be working on. Now, where did we end? We ended right there, so let's start at the top. Start at the top here, which is the beginning of July. It was 75 to 74, 79, and I have the exact, temperatures written down, so if I ever want to go back and look, I can, but in the 70s, and then we start getting hot. This is 80 to 84, 85 to 89. We're about to get into some 86, 88, 90, 87. So we're about to get into some warmer weather here. But so this is where we left off. I need to get new color. So the next color is 86. Let me take a drink real quick. This is the crochet hook I was using. I'm using an eye hook, 5.5 millimeter. And I need the color Mango, which is this color. So let's figure out, there's some more of my hair. It's not cat hair, it's my hair. Let's figure out how I was doing this. These are all single crochets. I was getting this on my hook, then I was pulling through the new color. Then I was chaining one. We're going to turn over. And then I don't weave in the ends on this, that would just be too many. So I am grabbing both ends, the end of the last row and the beginning of this row, and I am, hopefully that was a stitch, and I tighten them a little bit. And I just crochet over them. I could not imagine doing like 1,000 ends. When you get to a certain point, you feel like you've woven in enough of your ends. You can take your scissors and carefully cut them off. Don't come for me if this is just an inappropriate way to weave in your ends. I can't deal with that many ends. hardly use this color. Decided I think I'm going to make tote bags or market bags for Christmas this year. I usually make people things for Christmas. I mean, there's some people that I buy things for too. But there's other people that I just make things for. And so I think I'm gonna make tote bags because I mean they're practical. I'll be honest, I've made people a lot of hats and scarves over the years, and we live in Southern California, so like unless you're up really early in the morning, you're not wearing a hat and scarf. So I need to step away from that. And last year I made people coasters, like for their drinks. Those have worked out really well. My parents use theirs in their house, and they've held up really well. I used a pattern by TL Yarn Crafts, I believe. And then for extra, I just felt like it needed extra support, I guess. So I got some self-adhesive cork rounds off of Amazon that were the right dimension, and stuck them on the back. And you know, so you can't wash them, but they have they've worked really well. That was a fun project to do. Very easy. I used I can't remember what brand it is. If it's Lion brand, it's 24/7 cotton, which I got off of Amazon because it was really cheap. They had a lot of colors to choose from. Like I said before, if I ever do a temperature blanket again, which I might, I'm gonna do something different than just rows. I might do what TL Yarn Crafts is doing this year, which is the like squares, kind of like a granny square, but with a different stitch so it doesn't end up huge. Okay, so now what you have to do to get to the end of the row is mark off the row you've just done. You got to make sure you mark it off so you don't come back to it. And then you go to the next one, so it's the exact same color, so we don't have to change colors. So we're just gonna keep on going. So the best rows where you don't have to change colors. They're so much faster. I am determined to finish this year. that's my goal, kind of like everybody has their coloring goals and their, you know, their whip goals, and I just, this is my whip goal. I want to finish it this year. I want it to be done. I don't want to ever think about it again. I don't want it to be taking up space in my house anymore. It's taking up 2 whole containers in my room. I've got these shelves above my closet doors because my house has high ceilings. It's just how it ended up working out. And so I've got space above my closet doors, and I decided I wanted some shelves. So I got some floating shelves, really nice floating shelves. And you know, so they can't support a ton of weight, but they can support yarn. And I've got these, like those rope baskets, those soft-sided rope baskets you can get on Amazon. I've got some of those up there. So they're not huge baskets, but they're big enough, and one of them is being taken up by the finished blanket and this partial blanket, and then the next one is being taken up by partial yarn skeins for this blanket. And then I've got a cart in my living room, like one of those carts from Michael's, those 3-tiered carts. 3 tiers? Yeah, 3-tiered carts. And the whole top tier is filled with more yarn for this project. So there's just yarn everywhere, and I need it to be done so I can figure out what to do with the excess yarn, if there is any. You know, do I want to use it for projects? Do I want to give it away? It's just taken up a lot of real estate, and when you live in a house as small as mine, real estate is important. I was just cleaning out my closet. I put a few things in the attic because I've got attic space. It's not a stand-up attic. You have to kind of, we have a little, we got like a garage stool, rolling stool, so it's really low to the ground, and you can roll around up there. I have a lot of trouble getting up there. I'm not, my knees are just in bad shape, so I have a lot of trouble getting up there, but I do my best. And I put up a couple blankets up there that I wasn't using at the moment, and cleared out some space in my closet so I could get a little more storage room in there, and reorganize things a little better. I got rid of some blankets from my closet. Got rid of a blanket I crocheted, which has like never happened. I crocheted it years ago. It's just a throw blanket. I don't really like the yarn anymore. I don't know if that's ever happened to you guys. Like you make something and you think it's great, and then like after a while you're just like, you know what? I'm just not in love with it as much as I thought I was. That's what happened. So it's gonna find a new home. Okay, we're coming on the last stitch here. Time to cross off July 24th. Now we're on to 88. Is that the same color? That's still mango. So one more row of mango. I do like this color mango. Haven't gotten to use it very much this year, or last year, this blanket. next color we get even hotter. And we cool down a bit again. Right now, like in my spare time, I'm working on another tote bag. I got another pattern from Etsy. So far I'm just on the base of the bag, but it should be a much more, why am I having so much trouble with this? It should be a much more sturdy bag, I think, because it's got kind of more of a solid bottom. So we'll see. Just trying out some different patterns to figure out which ones I want to make for Christmas. Does this ever happen to you guys? Just curious. Like, any of you who make things like regularly, do you ever have people in your life just constantly telling you, oh, you could sell that? I would love to know if that happens to other people. It happens to me a lot. And most of the time my response is like, well, yeah, I could. I don't really want to. I don't. So much goes into selling stuff, especially stuff that you're hand making in bulk. It's a lot of work. And I know everybody's intentions are good and they just really love what you're making, and it's just a little hard sometimes. I mean, I've been there, I've done that. I've tried to sell things that I thought I liked making, and it just hasn't worked out well for me. I'm still working on my own business now. I'm still trying to make that work, let alone adding, more product. And it would be difficult. Okay, so next we're adding tropical pink. This isn't the right end. Wait, which one of these isn't the right end? Okay, this is the right end. Tropical pink is 90 to 94 degrees, and this is for the 26th of July. It was 90 degrees. Up a little bit. Again, I'm just weaving over. I do pull the ends tight when I get them in place, so there's no big messy end over here. Again, I'm weaving over the ends. I guess I haven't used Tropical Pink yet. That was a new skein. Unless there's another Tropical Pink. No? Hottest part of the year for us should be like in September, October. Okay, so let's go ahead and trim these. I don't know if that was reflected in last year or not. That's just how it normally is. Instead of getting like cooler by September, October, we get hotter. And we don't really get a fall or an autumn. we just get hot. And there aren't very many trees around here that change color. I'm not really entirely sure why that is. I think it's because the city decided that they wanted... The city is very vain, and it's a tourist destination. So I think they feel that, you know, everything needs to be green all the time, so they planted evergreen types of trees. More often than not, even though trees that lose their leaves do grow here. So first I just thought they didn't grow here, but they do. There is a benefit, though, to it never getting extremely cold here. You can have different types of flowers almost all year, and different types of plants almost all year. Speaking of the weather, it is gloomy today. We have this thing called May gray, and then that transfers into June gloom. May gray is in full force. And that just means that the fog rolls in and it stays there all day. So like it's like 60-ish degrees right now. It's cold. And it's dark, and I just took my trash out and it is not pleasant. So I do need to go finish planting my flowers, though I'm 3 out of 4 planters done. I can only do so much at a time because it hurts my back. So I've got one more to do, and then I need to plant. I've got 1 extra flower for a pot near my door, and then I'm 1 flower short. I didn't count very well, or I didn't figure out how many I'd need. So I need to go back to maybe just the hardware store and get 1 more. Okay, coming up on the end. Just wrote on my mat. I have to see if I can get that to come up later. Well, maybe it'll come up right now. More or less. Okay, so now we're back down to 85, which is back to mango. So let me cut this off. Get the mango back over here. How are we doing on time? Maybe another row or 2. Quite the head start here. Go back and tighten up the end. Okay. Okay, go ahead and cut these off. And we're off. Let's finish this row and then we'll call it good. I think we've got a pretty good head start. That's how many rows we just do? 1, 2, 3, 4. That'll be 5 rows. It's 5 days. At this point, this looks like a really nice scarf. And that's what was going to happen if I didn't cut the blanket in 2. It was going to become just a blanket scarf. It was going to be so long because I didn't make it wide enough to be like on did or something. I just didn't think it through. My aunt asked me what I was going to do with it when it got too long. And I'm like, what do you mean? Just totally didn't think it through. Did not understand the concept. Okay, almost to the end. Then we will call it quits. Sorry, I don't even know if I'm in the camera frame. So focused on getting this done. I'm glad we're working on it. I think working on it with you guys is going to be motivation for me to keep going. Oops. I keep hearing somebody outside. I'm worried they're gonna come in and start talking to me in the middle of the video. Then I'm gonna have to edit it. So I'm trying really hard to finish this row so I can do an outro and then we'll be done before they come in. Okay, leave one more on the end for us to do the next row. Okay, this looks great. Very pretty colors. So we're gonna call it quits, and almost forgot to sign off that. We've got 4 more rows in July, and then we'll go on to August. So thanks for joining me. Thanks for the motivation. We will continue on this, and we will continue on all of our other projects as well. Until next time, I will see you later.